Everything we do is going to be about winning. Okay, we're going to learn to do things the right way, and that's the only way we're going to do them. Because if it doesn't help us, we're not doing it, man. That's just as simple as it gets. Win the Super Bowl.
That's
I
good.
mean it too. You know, one of the things that the only reason you become a head coach in this league, in my opinion, is to win. That's it. That's the bottom line. If you do it for any other reason, you're wrong.
Hey football fans, welcome to the Washington Command Center. Today, I'm going to test how honest I can be before it kills my channel by turning some of the attention from the team to this fan base and clowns out there like Pat McAfee. Now, I heard Protect's letter to the fans, and I realized I wouldn't have such a kindly worded letter. So, let's see who can accept some criticism out here in this new era of Washington football, an era where this proud franchise can once again command respect. And what better way to kick off this new era than subscribing here to the first, the real, the OG Washington Command Center, so you can find your way back to some of the most opinionated and ice-cold calculated takes on all things Washington Commanders. And while you're at it, ring that bell, hit that like button. It's free to do, and it means a lot. And I'm definitely probably going to need a lot more of you after today's video. So, listen, Washington fans. In all of pop culture, there have been movements of fans fighting back against soulless corporations, changing and sometimes destroying things fans love. Sometimes it's just to suck every last dollar out of something, and in a way that shows fans the company making it completely doesn't care. And sometimes it's changing to appeal to a new audience in a way that somehow completely alienates the old audience. And most of the time nowadays, the fan backlash is met by mockery and disdain for the fans from some of the companies. You hear terms thrown around like toxic fandom. Now, I'm usually the first person to shoot the idea of that shit down. To me, the fan is the customer. And the customer is always right. But this fan base has got me really wondering about that whole concept lately. It's got me second guessing that a lot. Especially when I hear this fan base, instead of, making, some kind of rational point or, just being mad, they're out here parroting this same dumb, low information, half-baked shit that you get from idiots like Pat McAfee, who doesn't watch our games. He just knows he has a narrative. He sees things aren't going that well, so he tries to make it seem like he's right. And when you even got our own beat writers and personalities completely giving into their emotions and not putting forth the effort to call out the real root of the problems, even crystal clear ones, it's not a good look. They just end up looking like clowns in the process. And everybody in this fan base seems to try to be the loudest. but they're all just regurgitating some shit they heard somebody else said. Now, football is massively popular because it's so accessible. You pick one team and that's your team. You buy the merch for them, you cheer, you post online, and you only got one game a week to worry about. And the vast majority of fans only watch that game one time. Then they completely base their analysis of the game on how it made them feel emotionally, or what the commentator said. I mean, you go back to like last week and you heard all the, 7-step drops, 7-step drops. We had to hear that all week. Never heard a fan talk about it before. Then eventually, you have fans saying what they heard from the reporters, or even worse, clowns like Pat McAfee. Most fans don't have the time or energy, and in a lot of cases, the football knowledge to dive in and break these things down. So, they just know we lost, it made me feel bad, the man on the TV or on the podcast said, this is why we lost. So they go out and spew the same oversimplified, low effort shit they hear the guy with a huge platform say. And in most cases, the guy isn't looking past the surface level before giving some lame brain take. Especially in this case, where you had Pat McAfee shilling for a dude that paid his bills and helped him build his platform in Jim Irsay. He spent the whole summer completely trying to assassinate Carson Wentz's ability as a quarterback, using the low-hanging shit that had been drilled into fans' heads over and over, year after year, like the importance of a good quarterback and how it can magically turn around a team. And that gets drilled in to the point, without anybody ever really touching on what needs to go right for even the best quarterback to have success. If you put the vaunted Peyton Manning that Pat McAfee likes to compare everyone to in this situation, you get Peyton Manning's rookie season. Lots of sacks and way more interceptions. This is a team sport. I don't know how many people, don't realize that. They think that the quarterback just does everything, but this is a team sport. I mean, come on, guys. There's a reason the GOAT, Tom Brady, left the franchise he had 20 years and a lot of Super Bowls with. He knew he needed pieces around him to win. And as it stands right now, the GOAT only has one more win than us. And I don't hear those fans calling for Kyle Trask. He's going through this problem on his own. He's missing some of the pieces around him. Carson's thrown two more touchdowns than him, but he's also had to take 10 more sacks. And that's not all holding on to the ball too long. It comes down to a lot more than just the production of the quarterback anyway. But we still like to blame the wins and losses solely on the quarterback for some reason, which is crazy. Tom Brady, if you just compare the two, Tom Brady ended up with 3 Super Bowl wins in his first 6 seasons as a starter. Carson's team only ended up with 1. But looking at how they performed, Brady's completion percentage through the first 6 years, or first 6 seasons as a starter, was a 61.96, while Carson's has been a 62.65. Brady threw 147 touchdowns, 78 interceptions in 94 games. Carson had to deal with injuries, so he threw 140 touchdowns to only 57 interceptions in only 85 games. you can buy into all that hype and mumbo jumbo trying to bring up the clutch, poise, and timing stuff in favor of Brady and against Wentz. But in my opinion, that looks kind of dumb. When Wentz only had 7 fewer touchdowns after 9 less games, not to mention Brady netting 21 more interceptions. Nothing says clutch like giving up the ball 21 more times. And for the millionth time, this is a team sport. What's around you matters. The offensive line and wide receivers have a huge impact on a quarterback. Carson Wentz was finishing in his second season in the NFL, top 3 in MVP votes when he had the league-leading pass pro. That was even with garbage receivers. Now in Washington, he's got great receivers, but the pass pro has been complete garbage, just falling apart. When he's had the protection, even just looking back at the beginning of the season, when people were still healthy, Carson played like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. So the idea that he's somehow the problem here, like Pat McAfee tries to put out, and fans our fans are latching onto that, is really clown world shit, folks. I'm sorry, but it is. If it's just easier for you to go along with this bullshit narrative, fine. But don't expect me or the team to take you seriously. You can tell Allen, Ron, some other members of the team have already tuned out the fan base. And I can't blame them. Yeah, we have the right as a fan to hold them accountable. But we're also supposed to support them too. Look at the Cowboys fan base. They have every leg up in the world. Biased referees, just look back to last week. All the media love, look at any week. And even when shit goes wrong, the fans defend them. They make excuses. They come up with lavish shit to why they lost. Now, I'm not saying we should be sheep or yes men like Cowboys fans, but come on. Being their harshest critic is one thing, but we take that to a whole nother level here in a way that's purely negative to the team. We got to be at least fair with our own team. Take a closer look before you jump into the fire the staff and switch quarterbacks. You know, that's what we do like after every loss. Fire the whole staff, send them packing, put in Taylor Heineke. And I get it. My mom, 67-year-old woman, she loves Taylor Heineke and his plucky underdog story. She was mad that we brought in somebody to take his place. Honestly, I think if we would have brought in Pat Mahomes, she would have still poo-pooed the idea. She wants to see the underdog make it. And I know a lot of you feel the same way. I understand. I was all in on Heineke last year too. I was rooting on him. But I got real about his limitations. And I recognized an upgrade when we got one. And aside from that, holy shit, do I love Sam Howell. I got videos, folks. I love Sam Howell. I would have took that man at number 11 overall and not batted an eyelash. He, through his true freshman and sophomore seasons, looked like a top 5 pick in a class that wasn't going to be competitive. If he could have declared as a sophomore, he would be a New York Jet right now. And honestly, I think he'd be doing better than Zach Wilson. But he fell into that same everything is the quarterback's fault shit in college. With a team that lost pretty much every playmaker and every serviceable offensive lineman before his junior campaign. He fell into that, well, he must not be that great. And there's no reason he should have fell to the 5th, but thank God he did. That doesn't mean I think that he needs to be starting over Wentz. Why would he? Let him develop. Let him get that Aaron Rodgers treatment. Let him set a couple years, learn, come out as a boss. Because Carson Wentz holding onto the ball, a tick too long, 2 or 3 times a game isn't the problem. And that's definitely not getting solved by Heineke. And it could only damage Howell's transition to the NFL. We have a clear offensive line problem. And it's mainly a problem because of injuries. So it's not even the coaching staff's fault. But that doesn't really matter. This fan base is just so ridiculously divided now for hundreds of different reasons that nobody cares what the real problem is. They just want to say their thing, or the thing they heard a guy who gets paid for clicks said. And I don't want to sound some kind of way about that, because I like clicks too. I want my little channel to get them too. But I'm trying to do it in a way, I'm trying to build a rapport with whoever clicks here. And I'm trying to be honest as possible. I know sometimes I might just seem like a homer cheerleader guy, but it's because I believe in this team. And I honestly don't see the problems with this team that are being attached to it. If I'm being completely honest and eating a bit of humble pie because I like the signing, the only man I've seen that has earned a pink slip so far is Trey Turner. And honestly, even then, I don't know everything. It looks like effort to me, so I'd assume he should go. But he's had injuries that kept him out all off season. We signed him late. We didn't give him a big chance to build any chemistry, and that's all important. So even then, I wouldn't be screaming for him to be fired, because I don't know everything, that's going on with him. I don't know if he's got turf toe or his knees swole up. I don't know what's wrong. I just don't think he should be starting. And now he's not. So hopefully that improves. I'm just begging fans, pleading, please, take a closer look at the context. We are down to our third center and right guard already, and our right tackle will join them this week. No quarterback in the league is going to flourish behind that. So let's put the blame where it belongs. You want to go at Ron a bit? Fine. Maybe he should be on top of the personnel problem a bit quicker. But honestly, I don't see how Scott or Carson could do much more than they already are at this point. And Jack Del Rio, he's got the only good thing going that we have right now. So definitely nothing against Jack. Now maybe Scott can wholesale abandon his offense, the one the whole team has practiced all off season. Sure, maybe he can do that. But that's going to take time too. I know we've suffered through a lot of bad years of football. But come on, we have potential. And this outpour of us calling for everyone's jobs with every loss isn't helping anyone. For all the trash fans talk at times about the business side of the game, it just shows any player unfortunate enough to listen to us just how disposable they are to the fan base. Honestly, I hate to use the word, but it is toxic and kind of shitty. Like I said in my last video, I thought last week's loss should have been one that clearly united this fan base against the refs. We got robbed on a level that, like I said, it made the Steelers Cardinals Super Bowl look like the fairest game ever called. And forget these BS witch hunts against Dan Snyder. Let me get an investigation on the refs in Dallas. and they're insanely blatant bias. Let's get that. Let's band together as fans and go for that. Let's not fall into this same old run the quarterback out of town thing we do. Let's not put on the makeup alongside clowns like McAfee and just embolden him with a free license to trash our team. And, speaking on the witch hunts and speaking on Snyder, I know that's another hot button issue with fans. But in my opinion, even that's ridiculous. Now, I hopefully his recent character assassination claims could be a rallying point for fans too, but I doubt it. Washington fans have been all too happy to jump on allegation after allegation, one after another. Last one got shot down, don't care. Let's jump on the next one. All because we blame him for our losses. Even though he's a fan just like all of us, making the same boneheaded decisions each and every one of us would make if we got the Kings to the Kingdom. Now, you can dispute that all you want, but I read the comment sections. I watch all kinds of Washington content. If some of y'all were in his place, we'd have no cap, no draft picks, with a team full of has-beens. Basically, what Dan did for the first 10 years. That's what we'd still be going through today if any of us got the keys. So, I also remember, for all those early years, how happy we were when he made those boneheaded signings. How loudly we cheered. How we thought, we were bound for wins because of them. But as soon as it went wrong, we acted like we all knew. Like we knew the whole time. Oh, I knew all along that guy was washed up. I just don't understand how this fan base is just so quick to jump on him. The Fords have only sniffed a championship a couple times in 100 years. And hey, they've got some pretty shady business practices outside of sports too. But their fan bases don't have the hate boner we do here. There are tons of losing teams out there. Cardinals, Browns, Texans, Jets, Jags. But nobody goes after their owner like we do. Yeah, they might have a few playoff wins here and there since we have, but not by much. The Buccaneers went from the 70s when they started to the early 2000s, a complete laughingstock, before they had a few good years and won a Super Bowl. Then they spent the 2010s until Tom Brady came, basically as a loser too. But there wasn't a lot of talk about running their owner out of town. I just think it's crazy. Yeah, maybe you can say that other teams don't have the scandals, but how many of them have to get shot down before you start to wonder if maybe being in the nation's capital with a bunch of wannabe political journalists maybe has something to do with the level of persecution our owner has faced? That shit only gets egged on when the unhappy fans unhappy with losses, just gobble it down, and they repeat these allegations as if they're convictions. Yes, Dan made some mistakes, but he made them as a fan trying to help this team. His biggest mistake was being taken for a ride by Bruce Allen, who's not only a con man, but he's also responsible for just about any shady off-field thing that has been proven true. That's all on Bruce Allen's hiring watch. Whatever he did, anything wrong has been through him, and he's gone. But Washington fans, just answer me this honestly, because we We can give Dan crap for hiring Bruce Allen, who was the root of it. But answer this honestly. If you were the owner of the team, loving it the way you do, and Joe Gibbs, his son, had been working in the NFL front office and in different front offices for about 10 years, and he comes up to you with all this talk about the glory days and how he wants to run this thing like his dad did, would you hire him? Be honest, would you? I probably would. And I honestly think fans just need more perspective when judging Dan even. I mean, outside of the team, just the hatred we have for our owner. You know, when allegations come out, hey, just hold your judgment for the facts. Don't assume guilt for completely unrelated reasons. You know, just, oh, our team loses, so this guy must be a criminal. You know, because you're mad at the win-loss column. And when that shit gets shot down, like they all have been, like every single one of these things aimed directly at Dan has been so far, stand up to the people that are still acting like that trash was true. We let clowns like Peter King, you know, Dallas guy, Peter King, and Mike Florio, one of the biggest clowns of all, use these allegations as another avenue to attack this team. We need to shut that shit down. Especially y'all salty about the name change. Dan was fighting the hardest to keep the name. But the fan base couldn't put aside their hate for him to show the kind of support he needed to fight back. We gotta be the kind of fans that deserve a better product on the field. We can talk about all our struggles as fans, all the bad football we've sat through. But just like this league is a what have you done for me lately league for players, it is for fans too. You can say all you want about millions of dollars motivating these players, but the way the fans talk and act around here, it ain't putting any wind in anybody's sails. You think these players are worried about letting down fans that called for their job last week? We might have a few players that go out and ball to try to spite you. But honestly, looking at the games, most of these guys are giving it their all. And the team is just crippled by injuries in key places. So we're just out there throwing salt in the wounds. It's not productive at all. And I'm not even going to do my little end spiel here. This is definitely the most opinionated thing I've ever said. And if you're still here, you know, hit that like, subscribe. I love y'all. Peace.